If you're over 60 and you have constipation and you're having trouble pooping, then stay tuned, ladies, because we're going to discuss in this video what causes it, how to get rid of it, and to be best friends with your butt again. Well, the day is great. We're all dressed up, great hairdo, fancy makeup, nice clothes on. We feel we're all excited, but something's wrong. We don't just feel right. Why? Because we haven't had that elimination this morning. If we aren't pooping regularly, we just don't feel right, and it messes up your whole day or your whole week. So I know a lot of you have said, I feel so uncomfortable talking about this, but I want to. One lady even told me that she was so embarrassed to talk about her problem that she couldn't even talk to her doctor about it. So let's put our hair down today. Not that I'm going to, but we're going to have some serious talks. Are you ready today to learn all about constipation? It's a taboo word, but it's a very important part of our life. And the terminology is going to be a little different today. I just don't feel comfortable using all those medical terms that a lot of the doctors use, like defecation. That's called pooping. And those other words with your anal, that's your butt. So we're going to use those words. And I don't mean to insult your intelligence, ladies, but it's just more comfortable to use those words, kind of the words that we used when our kids were little and we were training them with good toilet training. And these are the words we used. Moosey is a wreck. He's so nervous because he knows that this topic I might get a little too deep into it, and he's nervous about what I'm going to say. So he's outside. I told him I was not going to talk about this if he was sitting over here. He can watch it later. But what we want to discuss is, first of all, what is constipation? What causes it? And how can we make our lives better and get rid of this so that we can feel normal every day? And there are ways we can do this. And believe it or not, it's not just about our diet or fiber. It's a lot of other things involved. And I hope I'm going to be able to help you today, because we all suffer from this. Maybe not all of us, or in one form or another. Maybe some of you have the IBS, you have the opposite end of it with the diarrhea. But they say approximately 60% of adults over 60 have this problem. And it's a real problem. It's as bad as any other thing can happen to your body. And as one of my favorite doctors, which I will give you links to a few YouTube discussions about all this today, but as one of my favorite doctors says, he says, love your butt, ladies. It's afraid of you sometimes because of what it has to go through. So here's where we are today. A month or two ago, after we had a nice discussion about incontinence, and many of you told me about your problems, and we discussed it very freely, and you were all so happy that we were able to do this on our channel. And one lady said to me, and I think it was Joy, her name was Joy, and I told her I'd mention this. She said, you know, now I think we're ready for one of those other topics like constipation. And when I told my husband that, he said, oh, no, you'll go overboard. You can't do it. No. So that was about a month or two ago. And I sort of agreed with him and thought there was absolutely no way we could do this. But you know what? We can do it, ladies. So stay tuned. We're going to do this. I have spent a couple of days researching a lot of this on how to discuss it. And I have pages and pages of notes that I've taken. As a matter of fact, I became extremely fascinated, which is what happens to me. I become obsessed about something when I'm interested in it. I've also gone into, and these I think have made me understand more, and I think it might help you. I've gone into the children's section of how how to instruct your children on various parts, or how to talk to them about various parts of their body and what happens when this happens to them. Sometimes they don't know what's going on when they can't poop. You know, they cry, it hurts them, and you have to explain about digestion and food choices and all the things in a very childish way to them with humor. And I watched cartoons explaining this with diagrams and everything. It was the best thing I ever watched. So I'm going to refer to these in some of the ways. And one of the ways I even made up, believe it or not. So actually, we're going to have some fun with it. There's going to be some humor involved. And there's also going to be a lot of truths. And I think you're going to be shocked at some of the things I found out. Now, number one, how many of you have ever looked at a diagram of your GI tract? And that is your gastrointestinal tract. And that's what happens when you chew your food, and what happens to your food from the time it goes into your mouth. You chew it down your esophagus into your stomach. I'm going to explain a little bit to you because it's amazing to know what that food, which then becomes waste product and then becomes the poop, and you'll be amazed what that little guy has to do to travel through your intestines around curves and up and down and up and across and down through these hollow valves, the colon and the small intestines and the large intestines, to even get out. And it's a fascinating process. The length of your, the size of your intestines and the diameter of the tubes, and you might understand how some of your poop can get stuck and where it can get stuck. At some point, if that poop does not get enough water, and if you're not drinking water all during the day, not just, and you know, I have a problem with water too, and I've been much more diligent about drinking my water throughout the day, because as you sleep all night long, you're not getting any water in there. So you have to get enough water throughout the day, because your kidneys send signals. Your brain is involved in all this, believe it or not. There are connections from all these organs in your body to your brain. They send signals back and forth. The kidneys send signals to the colon. The colon will perhaps take water from this poop, which it needs to keep moving and moving. Now, when it gets stuck, it can become stuck somewhere in the colon, which is not good, or it can finally make it to the rectum and get stuck there. Now, constipation doesn't always mean hard poop, nuggets of hard poop. It can be soft, but then you have in your butt, you have muscles. And if your muscles are not relaxed, and you have to learn how to relax these muscles, or if they go into butt spasms, they call these anal spasms, but we'll call them butt spasms. And you have to learn to let these muscles loosen to allow the elimination. Are you beginning to realize how much this little guy has to do to get out? I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it? So what can we do to help this process? Now, I am going to give you Dr. Chung's link on his YouTube. It will be here, and it will also be in the description box down below. I'll also give you the links to some of the other women who do these pelvic empowerment exercises and massages. I want you all to visit Dr. Chung's YouTube. You are going to enjoy him no end, and he'll be so helpful. Don't forget to tell him that Nanny sent you. My favorite proctologist is a doctor by the name of Dr. Albert Chung. And I just love him because the way he explains things, he is a rectal and colon surgeon, and he's located in California. And he is just so cute, the way he explains all this in a simple way, the way I'm explaining this to you, sort of. And he also discusses hemorrhoids and tears and fissures and everything. So, I mean, everything. But right now, we're just concentrating on the constipation aspect. Now, Dr. Chung says there are 7 reasons why you are constipated. And I'm going to run through these. And some of them, obviously, you will understand. Number 1, it's the water content of your poop. Your poop needs water to keep it moving. And that means you aren't drinking enough water throughout the day, not just in the morning or at night before you go to bed, but he stresses that it has to be all during the day because at nighttime you're not drinking at all. Number 2, it could be the cause of the different meds that you're taking, meds for diabetes or high blood pressure or various other things. It could be iron that you're taking. That's definitely something we already know. Another thing, maybe you have hormone imbalances, and that could be something like maybe a thyroid condition. Number 4, it's your food or your diet. Now, this is a big one. You know, it's not all about the fiber, ladies. There are really 2 kinds of fiber, soluble and insoluble, and you need a little bit of both. But when that poop is all clogged up and it has too much fiber in it, you don't want to keep adding the fiber and the fiber. You got to know when to stop. We've all heard you have to have a lot of fiber. Keep chowing that fiber down. Well, Dr. Chung says not necessarily. Yes, you need a certain amount of fiber, but if you get a blockage and you have a blockage already there, or your poop is stuck there, either in your colon or down somewhere right in your rectum, it doesn't need more fiber to feed it because it's already got so much fiber. That's what's caused it to harden, because the water has gone out of it too. So maybe you hold up. And that's the other thing to realize. Every day is not something for everybody. Sometimes it could be 3 times a week, that everyone is different and foods affect us all differently. And we all have to eat certain kinds of foods because of the various problems or lifestyle that we need. Number 5, the reason that you might be constipated, and this is an important one, is the rate at which the poop travels. Now, I did discuss all those twists and turns of the small intestines, the large intestines, which are the colons, and all those things that, all these are hollow valves, and the poop must constantly be moving. It cannot stop. Number 6, it's all about the muscles that control the movement of your poop or stool. That's another word we could use. The muscles and the muscles and the nerves have a lot to do with it, especially the muscles and the nerves, which are down in your rectum and your butt. As he calls it, you need to know how to control your muscles to keep the flow going. And that's one of the most important things here. Number 7, believe it or not, is mental stress or physical stress. And that is when I spoke before about your brain being in connection with this area of your body is important. So if you can learn to relax, teach yourself. Now we can get into some of the ways that we can possibly have nice daily, or at least every other day, nice eliminations and have nice soft poop. All right, so here we go with some of the things we can do. Number 1, he does advocate perhaps taking a stool softener every day. And he does mention Colate. It just really is something that perhaps overnight can just soften your stools so that you'll be able to eliminate. And there are exercises that you can learn. And I did watch a couple of these pelvic powered exercises, they call them, where they're similar to the Kegel exercises. They're very similar to some of the exercises that you might do for incontinence, only they're concentrated in the butt area rather than the other area. And I was going to get on my bed and show you some of these, but there's 2 or 3 women who do these a lot better than I could do them. And but one of the things that I remember doing, and I'll bet you remember doing this too. Do you remember when your children, especially the babies, had trouble and you knew that they had a blockage or they hadn't pooped that day or something? You used to take their legs, and I remember doing this so much, even with grandchildren, and you would take their little legs and bend them and then push them very gently toward their stomach. And this would help. And it was pressure on the tummy, light pressure on the tummy. And maybe you would take another one at a time, one knee at a time. Well, guess what? That's one of the exercises that you can do lying on your bed. Perhaps those exercises I might be able to do later, where you would pull both your knees up and hold them for a few seconds or 10 seconds, and then let them down. What this does is it helps put pressure on your intestines or your lower stomach, which is the intestines, the colon, and it's going to help the movement of the poop to travel a little bit faster and get where it's going. It also helps to remove some of the gas and the bloat. This is the one where you want to pull your legs up to your stomach and press in as far as you can. Hold them there, and then do it with one. Try and hold it as long as you can. And then put that leg down, bring the other leg up, bring it into your stomach as far as you can. I'm sure if I had a flatter stomach, I could bring it in more. And this is putting pressure on not only your lower belly, but your diaphragm and your intestines. All of this is helping. So these are the exercises you used to do with your little kids and your babies when they couldn't poop. This puts the pressure on it, and it helps those muscles in the rectum open up. And don't forget your water, most important. Then there are also massage exercises. And, you know, I have always found that while I'm just sitting on the toilet, I press in on my intestinal areas a lot and my lower belly. And I tell you, I think that helps to move everything down. I really believe some of these exercises are very important and might help. And then there are exercises that rehabilitation of some kind, or maybe watching some of these exercises on some of these YouTubes might help you with learning how to control the muscle spasms in your butt. And I've heard that explained as the letdown. And the letdown is when those muscles relax and open, and you feel that poop is there, ready to come out, and you make a beeline, and it's a lot easier to push, right? Now, you know, I thought about something when I was watching some of the cartoons. Do you remember that book called, oh, I thought that was Moose. I don't want to talk. Remember the book called The Little Engine That Could? And it was all about the little train, cute little child's book that had trouble getting up the hill, and he tried and he tried, and it was all about giving it that good old try, that I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Well, I sort of think of, and Dr. Chung refers to the the traveling, that's just my cat. That's my cat. It's Ghost crying for his breakfast. It's not Moose. So I'll just finish this thought. But remember, lost my train of thought. Dr. Chung talks about all this as a train ride that the poop has in traveling all the way from these intestines and the colon and all of the things it has to do in order to eliminate out through your butt. And I think of a train as when it finally gets down from the stomach, he's in the caboose. And then he has to travel through this train from the caboose to the small intestines, to the large intestines, and the colon, and then the rectum, and then up to the engine. And then he says, I did it, I did it. Well, he's the little engine that could. And maybe now that you understand what has to happen here, some of these exercises make sense, don't they? Also, the diet and definitely the hydration, to me, makes makes it all sound that could help so well. Think about some of the meds you're on. Discuss all this with your doctor, and let me know what you think. I hope I didn't offend anyone. I just felt these words were the words I had to use. And I'm going to tell you a little story. I think you remember the story about my father, even after I was married, in his letters that he would write to me. When Moosey and I were first married, we were living at Fort Knox, Kentucky. And in the end, my father would always say, how are your barrels? My father knew all my life, I was a child, had constipation problems. And he always referred to them as my barrels. There's the other question of, and the doctor talks about this, is partial elimination. Many's the time that if you're constipated or just having a hard time going, you will eliminate just partial, and you know there's something else there, but it's just not coming. Maybe it'll come later in the day or an hour or two later. Maybe it doesn't even come till the next day. I know when I have a complete bowel movement, it's sort of, you can almost feel it coming right down through your intestines and your colon, right out, and you feel this real emptying, and it's not a diarrhea, it's just a good emptying, and that's the ideal poop. I don't believe I'm talking like this. Moose is probably going to censor this and say, forget about it, don't put it up. But I'm hoping that it's helping you. And I hope you found this not only informative, but somewhat humorous, right? But it's so important for your well-being, isn't it really? I mean, I know it's a strange subject to discuss, especially, you know, from an older lady. So we talked about the ways to get rid of this. The hydration, yes. The foods that you eat. Bananas are good. I like apples. Yes, I do eat my spinach, but I don't overload up on it, on the fiber. And I eat various other things. Kiwis. Kiwis, that's a good fruit for you. A normal diet, the one that is probably recommended the most and probably the best one for constipation, is the Mediterranean diet. And I know you're all familiar with that. Well, I've tried to drag out a lot of what is good for you for constipation, for ridding yourself of constipation, or just basically a diet that is not only good for your gut, but I understand this is a diet that's good for longevity too, giving your gut a rest that you don't need to be eating all the time. And of course, this obviously will help with not only constipation, but living longer, healthier. That's the main thing. And I've taken out some things here just to show you what we regularly eat. Now, we eat a lot of other things too, good and bad. And as Dr. Chung says, no one should restrict themselves of the things they really love, just eating in moderation. And but he does recommend certain foods, as do other people, for constipation. Now let me just go through some of these things. Olive oil, okay? Now let's not forget the water. Okay, we have to stay hydrated. I like all kinds of nuts, of course, in moderation. We eat these. One thing we do eat a lot of is the blueberries. We eat a lot of blueberries. Moosey has them on cereal every morning. I don't eat cereal, he does. I also love fermented foods. Love my sauerkraut. Not wild about kimchi, but definitely sauerkraut. And one thing that I do have, several times a week, is a little bit of cottage cheese with blueberries on top. I usually don't like to eat until maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, and we don't eat lunch. We only eat one meal a day, basically. I do, other than perhaps a little bit. On the other hand, if there's something left over from the night before that I absolutely love, guess who'll eat it in the morning? So I'm not the perfect example of eating perfectly all the time. I have peanut butter with apples. Now that's the way I have it. I don't have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but I do have, when I have an apple, I slice up it, and I prefer green apples. By the way, apples are good for constipation. I will have a little bit of peanut butter on the side, and I crunch the nice apple with peanut butter. It's a great little snack. I love broccoli. Moosey hates broccoli. I love it. I usually will eat this raw or with a dip, believe it or not, but I love it on anything. We both love the string beans, and I love my spinach in my smoothies, so that's my fiber there. I don't eat a lot of red meat. I also love shrimp. So I am more a fish person. I don't really eat a lot of red meat at all. But the salmon is wonderful for you. I also love my smoked salmon. Now, kiwis are supposed to be a great food. I bought the sweet, light ones, which have 3 times the amount of vitamin C in them than an orange has. I really prefer the green ones, but these are great. You peel them and you just eat them. Have a kiwi a day. They're good for you. We love peaches in season, and of course my tomatoes. I have great tomatoes. Tomatoes are supposed to be very good for you. They have a lot of nutrients in them, and also good for constipation. Maybe that's why I've been great lately. Cucumbers. I'm about ready to make a German cucumber salad. These are all good foods. You all know the right foods to eat by now. I think pretty much everyone does. We eat a lot of other things too, but I could survive pretty much on everything that's just here, believe it or not. Oh, yogurt. I do like a little bit of yogurt too, and I'll put some berries on that. Moosey also. So this is just an example of how a diet, the right kind of a diet, can help your constipation. I don't know what else to tell you. Just enjoy your life, relax, and maybe everything will come out okay. No pun intended. So try some of these things, the exercises on your stomach, especially even when you're sitting on the toilet, but maybe doing some of these exercises every day, lying on your bed in the morning or at night, or both. And it's just a gentle massaging of the different areas. Look at your chart of what your colon and your intestines look like, and you'll know right where to put some pressure. Exercise. Oh my goodness, that's so important. You have to keep your body moving, and Dr. Chung definitely says this is so important. If you're just sitting and you're sedentary, you are going to have problems. So these are things that we can do, and then if you are still having problems, do consult your doctor and try and get rid of this, because bowel obstructions, especially the ones that get stuck in the colon, they're no fun. One thing that Dr. Chung said that was so funny was, Well, ladies, now that you know all of this and everything that your butt has to go through, your butt is afraid of you because of what you do to it sometimes when you're constipated. The pushing and the straining and the hemorrhoids and the fissures and the tears. So be kind to your butt. Try and do all these things that you can to eliminate this problem so that in the morning when you do your fancy hairdos, and by the way, mine looks a little bit oompa loompa-y today, a little bit big, but that's okay. Big is good. And you put your makeup on, you dress up nicely, you're ready to go out and have a great day, or even if you're just going outside to garden or enjoy the day, you feel so much better when you have pooped, right? So good luck, everybody. Try and do some of these things, the exercise. Don't forget your water. I wish you luck, and let me know how you're doing. Thank you all for watching this. Happy pooping. Bye for now. I love you, and God bless us all.